let you loose.
Hello, Americans. It's a great joy and honor for me to meet you here. Greetings from Berlin, Germany to Orlando, USA. And now we make a translation German to English. Okay? Ihr seid heute zusammengekommen,
You all came together here today
eine Art Holiday zu feiern.
to celebrate a kind of a holiday.
Jetzt komme ich
And now I show up.
und verderbe euch die
And
Stimmung.
I'm ruining your mood.
Wisst ihr, wir müssen uns mit ein
You
paar
know,
Dingen auch auseinandersetzen,
We have to deal with some
die auch etwas
things.
unerfreulich sind.
Things that are a little bit
Ich
unpleasant.
gehöre zu den Wissenschaftlern,
I am among
die
those
nicht aus dem Versteck
scientists
heraus argumentieren,
who don't argue from a hiding place, but always eye to
man sich
eye.
zum wissenschaftlichen Kampf.
I fight scientifically in a fair way.
Wenn man glaubt,
And
man könnte sich
if you
selbst größer
believe
machen,
that you could
indem
make
man
yourself
andere
bigger
kleinredet,
by putting others down,
dann ist das ein Selbstbetrug.
then that is
Und
just
so arbeitet
cheating
kein
yourself, and no scientist works that way.
Daher müssen wir uns heute mit ein
So
paar
that's
Dingen
why
befassen,
we have to deal with some things today
kritisiert sind.
which have to be
Ja,
criticized. Yeah,
tut mir leid. Jetzt
I'm sorry.
kommen einmal ein
I'm
paar
sorry.
ernste Worte.
Some serious words are going to be
werde Ihnen
spoken at
Folgendes
this
vorweg
point.
sagen.
And I'll tell you all
Ich werde morgen
something
noch mal zu Ihnen
right at the
sprechen.
start. I'll be talking again to you, or I'll get to, or I
Ich werde
have to
über
talk to
ein
you again tomorrow.
Qualitätsmanagement sprechen.
And that's when I'll talk about quality
Heute
management. But
ein
for
kleiner
today,
Kurzkommentar.
a small and
Aber was Sie
brief
vorweg
commentary.
wissen sollen, ist,
But what you should know ahead of time is the
ich
following.
erweise meinen wissenschaftlichen Gegnern,
I,
sofern sie wirklich Gegner
if I have
sind,
opponents that are
immer meinen
real
Respekt.
opponents scientifically, I always
Auch wenn
respect
ich
them.
ihre
I
Ansichten
will always
nicht
give respectable opponents
ist
my
nicht
respect, even
mein
if I don't
Stil,
share their
an einer
opinions.
Art
It is not my
Fake
style
News
to
Kultur
participate
mitzuwirken.
in a type of fake
Nein,
news culture.
ich
No,
behalte meinen Stil
I
bei.
keep my
Erfolg
own
erringt
style.
man nur
Success
aus
can
eigener
only
Kraft,
be achieved from your own
nicht
power,
durch irgendwelche
not
Behauptungen,
through making
sondern
any
erringt ihn
kind
nur
of
durch
claims.
harte
You will
Arbeit.
only be successful through hard
Deshalb
work.
müssen wir uns mit einem
And
Video
that
beschäftigen.
leads us to a
etwas
video we
ausführlicher.
have to deal with.
Bitte
We'll
Video
get
ab.
into
Ich
more
werde es
detail tomorrow,
kommentieren.
but now let's see this clip. I'll comment on it.
Hello, in this video I want to compare the top two PMF systems worldwide, the IMRS 2000 and the Beamer Classic and Beamer Pro. And before I begin, I just want to say that, first of all, I've used both systems and had experience with both. They are the two leading PMF device units available here in the United States. They have the best research, by far the most testimonials. These are the two brands I think you should be looking at when it comes to PMF.
Stop. Stop. Liebe Freunde von IMRS,
Dear friends from IMRS, I don't know your
wo
studies.
sind
Where
eure
are
wissenschaftlichen
your
Studien?
scientific
Ich
studies?
kenne einige Berichte.
I only know a
Wenn
few
ihr
reports.
vergleichen wollt,
If you would
dann
like to
nur nach den
compare,
Kriterien der
then only
Wissenschaft
use scientific
im Sinne
criteria,
eines klassischen
a
Qualitätsmanagements.
classic quality
Nicht durch
management style
Behauptungen.
comparison,
Wo
not
sind
just
eure
claims.
Unterlagen?
Where is your supporting paperwork?
Don't
Continue.
think there's even a close third. But when you look at the two side by side and when you look at the numbers, the IMRS has a definite advantage over the Beamer. And I just want to go over the top 10 reasons why I think the IMRS is slightly better than the...
Stop. Woher wisst ihr das?
How do you know that?
Wo sind die Belege?
Where is your evidence?
Weiter.
Beamer overall for just giving you the best possible results for you and your family. And let's just get right into it. So the first reason is the IMRS has 4 frequency settings. The Beamer only has 2.
Stop.
The nice thing about
Ihr habt ja nicht mal das Signal von
You don't
Beamer
even
begriffen
have
und wollt euch
you
dazu
haven't even
äußern.
understood the Beamer signal,
Nein,
and then
das
you want to say
Signal,
something about it? No.
denn bei diesem
The
Signal
signal
sind diese
and this
Art von
signal,
Frequenzangaben,
when you're making
das
these type of
69.
frequency information, it's the
Nein, Leute,
most
wir wollen schon auf deren
inconsequential
Fundament
point of all.
Wissenschaft aufbauen.
No, this is not based on a scientific foundation. This is not a fair
IMRS
comparison.
frequencies, which gets into point number 2 with the built-in biorhythm clock. is that you're getting the right frequency for the time of day. So in the morning, you're getting a primary pulse trade.
Where in
neurophysiology, physiological literature, where is there a foundation for this? What is this based on?
Around 15 hertz, and that's a beta frequency. That's a nice energizing frequency that'll get you energized.
Stop comparing the signals with electrocardiographic signals. No, that's a different world. My friends, are we even playing in the same league anymore, or what is this all about?
Then up and running, kind of like a energetic cup of coffee in the morning, and at night you get the theta delta frequencies, which are the best.
Nonsense. People, we want to argue on a scientific basis. We're comparing two systems, but not like that. I mean,
sleeping, having a really deep delta sleep, which of course during deep sleep, that's when healing and rejuvenation really takes place. Getting deep sleep.
Das könnt ihr euch schenken.
Forget about it.
Weil wir
because we're currently working worldwide on dealing with sleep phenomena that have to do with microcirculation. We don't even know. Do you know everything already? No. So why are you saying this then?
Most people know is important. And the IMRS has a definite advantage because it's using 0.5 and 3 hertz close to bedtime, where BEMER is using 10 hertz. And in the morning, you know, the regular BEMER setting is 30.
What kind of nonsense is this, my friends? A signal has to be recognized by the system, and the signal of the system has to be exactly known in the first place. So you do have to take the extra effort to research the microcirculatory biorhythms, and then you can enter this discussion. Otherwise, you have to be silent.
Which is a little high, in my opinion, and I think it can be a little irritating. The 10 hertz at night BEMER is just a little high also. That's about alpha. Okay, you want to be down to
What kind of nonsense is this again? Where are the studies? Where are the scientifically reliable results? No, it's not like what you're saying here, my friends. I will give you my respect, but I will have to insist that we'll only fight with the weapons of science. Continue.
Point number 3 is that the IMRS has a better range of intensities, meaning it goes down lower for chemically sensitive and electrosensitive people, or for people that are really...
Now this is really nonsense. It's not even important at all. This doesn't even play a role at all. The field always goes through your body. It's always enough. So don't get fooled by this. It's like using your cell phone. You can go to the room next door, you'll still get a signal. No, this is not the point. We cannot have a discussion on this basis. We cannot compare product A versus product B in this way. No, what's lacking here is the scientific concept. But go on.
Sometimes we have to use the sensitive setting. And we go down to 0.09 microtesla on the lowest setting. BEMER only goes to 3.5 microtesla. That's far down as a...
Oh my God, that's even more nonsense. Where's the scientific evidence? Where is the scientific evidence for such frequency analysis? No, if you're saying that, then you'll have to enter it into the scientific literature, and you will not. You'll find me on your side if you do something better. You know what? I'm an independent scientist, but this is not how it works. So continue.
That's just a little high for sensitive people. Definitely, the IMRS has a definite advantage there. So the IMRS goes a little bit higher on the highest setting for localized pain relief and kind of symptomatic relief. The BEMER only goes...
Friends, I'm really sorry if I keep interrupting here, but I'll probably have to do it for every sentence at this point. So let's keep going then. No. This is completely meaningless. You know why? What decides is not the level of energy, but the quality of the signal. That's the key point. So let's have the discussion on a reasonable basis. It took 20 years before we understood this, that the sentence "a lot helps a lot" is not valid in this case. No, the decisive point here is the quality of the signal, and that has to be recognized by the system, and the system is this little vibrating vessel, and that's the secret, and that's what has to be researched, and it took us years to comprehend that. So what you're doing is not right.
Up to 50 microtesla on the full body mat, where the IMRS goes up to 70 microtesla. And on the local applicators, the beamer goes up to only 150 with the plus signal, where the IMRS goes up to 300, you know, for localized pain relief.
Stop.
So
Once again, this is just something to confuse everybody. Either we can prove it, and you cannot do that, or you have to be quiet. In a scientific fight, only facts score points, not claims.
This goes lower and it goes higher. So just a better range of intensities, better range of frequencies, and a better variety of waveforms. That
Stop.
gets into point
Das ist doch schon wieder physikalischer Unsinn.
Physically, this is
Bitte
nonsense
konsultiert
yet
doch mal
again.
einen Physiker,
Please
der euch
talk
das
to
erklärt.
a
Dann könnt ihr das auch
physicist who
weglassen.
can
Bitte
explain this to
weiter.
you, and then you'll stop saying that.
Four is that the IMRS uses both a sawtooth on the full body mat, which gives you a full spectrum of frequencies and intensities, which is kind of like an energetic
Stop.
multivitamin.
Wie kommt ihr darauf?
How do you get that idea?
Welche Grundlagenuntersuchungen
What
habt ihr
basic study have you conducted
Weltliteratur publiziert?
that we can see published in the literature of the world, to which I can make some statements? There is nothing, so shut up.
Weiter.
To resonate with different tissues and cells to energize them, because every cell and every tissue has a slightly different resonant frequency. And that sawtooth is really ideal. And that
Stop.
rapid ride.
Wo kommen wir denn hier hin?
Where is this going to take us?
Wo kommen wir denn hier hin?
Where are we going to go with
Das
this?
sind molekularbiologische
Those are
Fragestellungen.
molecular biology questions which are currently being researched. They somehow already know the answer? Why is this not published in the literature of the world?
Nobelpreise alles.
You'd be getting Nobel Prizes for all of these findings if we knew with these biological processes on the micro level, if we knew this. This is a dream of mine. I have a dream to solve this puzzle in the next few years, working with many universities. I alone wouldn't even be able to do it. I need allies to figure these things out. So what they're saying here, no, I'm sorry, my friends, this is impossible. I'm so sorry, but every sentence here, I'm so sorry that I have to dissect every sentence here, otherwise we cannot have a scientific
Fall with
argument.
the sawtooth is going to really help to stimulate energy production and ion transport. And with the square wave is great for breaking up cycles of pain for localized pain relief with the
Stop.
applicator.
Das ist der Wissensstand von vor 25
That's the
Jahren.
knowledge from 25 years ago.
Morgen mal auseinander.
I'll talk about that tomorrow.
Nein, Freunde.
No, my friends, I'm sorry.
Das ist zwar gekonnt gemacht,
Well done, the whole thing, but still wrong.
And it's, you know, the NASA study done by Dr. Goodwin showed the square wave was the most beneficial signal
Stop.
used.
wo ist denn die Studie?
Where's the study?
In welcher vernünftigen Weltliteratur?
Which reasonably published publication, meaning peer-reviewed publication, contains this? Which one?
Argumentieren kann.
Where can I read it so I can make a scientific argument? I don't want to insult this colleague here, but we can only have a discussion if we get to the level of scientifically accepted publications, peer-reviewed scientific publications. Otherwise, this is no discussion.
The beamer signal is a complex sinusoidal, which
Stop.
does in all.
Jetzt werde ich aber ganz
Okay, now I'm really going crazy here.
Was ist denn das da?
What the heck is that?
Ihr seid wohl verrückt geworden.
Are you nuts? That is not the BIGB signal. My friends, now it's getting a little bit criminal here almost. This signal used to exist, yes, a long, long time ago, before I started dealing with this issue, yes. But for decades, it is not being used anymore, no. You have the new one here. This was last revised in ancient times. I don't know where they dug it up. I don't know what kind of mummy had to be revived to find this signal. Go on. I'm really sorry. I'm sorry. I technically love to speak more quietly. I'm not a guy who gets all upset. But good things don't procreate on their own. You have to fight for the good. You have to fight for it. That's why it doesn't make any sense if I sit here all in humble and hold back. If I see junk like that, no.
Fairness, it gets very peaked at the highest peak there, but it's still rounded at the top. It's not going to be as much of a rapid rise and fall as the sawtooth square wave.
Stop. People, let me ask you a question. This thing is going to go on for a while longer. Should we continue this? Can you even stand it? I can take it. I can take it, but I don't know. I don't know if you want to handle me here saying stop after every sentence. So, my friends, if you want to have an argument with us, then get on our level. You cannot expect that we go down to your level. We won't lower ourselves in order to have a discussion with you. That's not the way we're going to do it. I am sorry, but you have to say what has to be said. Go on.
And the analogy I like to give people is, imagine trying to start a fire with a piece of flint and a striking stone. What you want to do is you want to strike it abruptly. That's a rapid rise and fall, where a sinusoidal wave would be kind of like rubbing it slowly back and forth. You may get some little tiny sparks, but it's not going to be enough to actually start a fire. So, I mean, I hope that makes sense. I think it's a very applicable analogy here.
Stop.
And again,
Stop.
Where are we now? Kindergarten or scientific analysis? I mean, my friends, I'm extremely sorry, but this is hard for me. It's hard for me to keep up my respect for you. I will show you my respect tomorrow. I mean, if they let me talk here tomorrow, I'll talk about something that actually was successful at IRMS. So then I'll tell them where their strengths are. Yeah, that's probably how it's going to turn out. You see, that's a sign of strength. We are so strong that we can even reach out to our competitors. We don't need to interact on this level of nonsense.
Rapid rise and fall is really stimulating ion transport. Bassett, way back in the 70s and 80s, found for non-union bone fractures, the sawtooth helped to stimulate.
Listen, in all seriousness, about this study here, well, we cannot use this study. We're now talking about ion transport, so we're below the level of molecular biology. So, in the end, what? Someone's gonna use Einstein's theory of relativity to prove the effectiveness of their product. But you know what? We got to stay grounded, you guys. We have to talk about things that really are related. This is not even related. We're not there yet, not even close. We're not even able to really understand or even record the processes on the biological level.
Electric effect with the bone to help produce bone matter.
Stop.
Listen, now I'm going to get a little bit uncomfortable here. In my early youth, I used to get prizes, scientific awards, as a young guy, about things like this. And you know what? This is making me a little bit enraged, because those are pictures from my younger years. And you know what? This here, physically speaking, forget about this entire thing. I won't take the time to take this apart on a screen. No, this has to go away. Believe me, I'm a professor at a university. I have as a lecturer, I have worked experimental physics at a university, and then I went into medicine and did different things. But you know what? I can tell you, I believe I understand something about this. I forget this nonsense, totally.
Very proven signal. It's got a rich history going way back to the 70s and 80s. The Beamer signal is relatively newer. Point number 5 is the IMRS has very tightly wound copper.
Okay, listen. This nonsense here really does have a long history, yeah. It's really long. It doesn't count. Yesterday was yesterday, and today is today. Look at the research that was added over the last 15 years. And my institute, for example, didn't just focus exclusively on the Beamer. No. We are committed to the entire subject. And the conclusion of the Beamer, they were just outcomes of the research. They were consequential. A consequence of the research. So it always goes along with the growth of knowledge in my field, not because I say so, but because we had international debates about it. It's important to hear other opinions and to critically check your own opinion. So I'm really sorry. All the stuff that's coming up now, you just don't even listen to it, don't.
Coils in the full body mat, pillow, and probe. No plastic tubing, no spacing in between. And the reason that's so important is that when you got tightly wound circular coils, you're getting a pure B field, a pure magnetic field.
Stop.
And
as far as I know, we were the first ones in a quality management study who really analyzed the fields of the competitors, and it was multidimensional. So, friends, do you know your own field? The layout of those spools, of those coils, isn't even that bad. I'll actually praise this tomorrow. But your argument and then creating a contradiction to another product, no. That is as if in the war, in the battle, you're shooting blanks and then you're wondering why you didn't win.
you get a rich layer of harmonics because the signal is very clean. It's kind of like a high fidelity stereo. You're just getting better quality music when you get a high.
Stop.
What are pure signals? Or clean signals? What are clean and dirty signals? What kind of nonsense is that? We build a specific quality of signal, which has the basic vibration and then the upper level vibration, the super vibration. And then this is applied to the tissues that we want to affect, the spontaneous vasomotion movements of the little arterioles. And either we make a contribution to that or we don't. And if we don't, we need to shut our mouth.
And system. Same goes with using the tightly wound copper, because that is kind of like the speaker system of your PEMF unit. That's what's
Stop.
People, do you really want to do this to me? This is going to go on, one sentence after another. I mean, I've watched this thing all the way through once. I mean, there's all kind of bon mot coming up. I mean, like the French would say. Is it, so basically, as we say in Germany, is your nose full of this? Are you done with it? So if the organizers agree, let me just summarize a few things. I mean, I saw the video ahead of time. And otherwise, I mean, I can tell you. Well, let me get up there. Okay, you go. Let me get up there. So then they're going to talk about material and technology thoughts, which I think are completely inconsequential. Then they talk about making a creation between the macro circulation, meaning heart frequency and so on, and the things that are hinted at here. So, but that was a total disaster in the rest of that video. No, this problem has to be tackled in a totally different way, which is something we're trying to do in Berlin with some clinicians, and I'll explain it to you. When the beamer works and when we have the perfusion sizes in the smallest blood vessels, then we're automatically lowering the flow resistance, peripheral flow resistance, which automatically takes a burden, a load off the heart. And this is a desired side effect, which is sometimes low and sometimes significant. And this has to be taken into account when you take at the same time medications for the heart and for the circulatory system. But this is a totally different story. The argument here totally misses the point. And then there's a couple other things, and then in the end, then I really started wondering. No clinical study results that are reliable. What does IRMS do and what does BIMA do? I mean, you could do that, and then I would even be interested in that. And the BIMA people don't even know that. For 2 years we have dealt with this subject, and I financed it myself without any kind of support. And I wanted to know, where do we stand? I wanted to know the truth, and not something, whatever, something we tell ourselves. No, I wanted to know, what are the other people doing? And then I did see some aspects, indeed, where I said, you know what, some employees improved their products. Because 10, 15 years ago, I had examined the same products already. And so I noticed, you know, you did make some progress. But I'm probably the first one to really explain this to you guys. And tomorrow I'll present what I'm talking about. But don't worry, my friends. The BIMA is the champion. Do not worry. But I recognize that IRMS in particular has had advancements. They're not a product that is ineffective, and they can find out from me what it really actually does. And I think that's not a shame. That's not a bad thing. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. My friends, listen, you're Americans, you have a sense of fairness. When there's a sporting competition and one person wins and the other person is second, then the second place, that's a great achievement too. You deserve recognition for being second. So why are we going into this fake news? Why are we lowering ourselves when we have our own positive statements that we can make? So that I don't understand. So my friends, tomorrow I will speak like this, if they let me. This, ladies and gentlemen, dear Americans, we could do this for 2 more hours. And for each one of those claims, I'm going more crazy. I'm a professor. I'm a university professor. So after the first few sentences, I would have already sent a student home if that had been the exam. I would be like, this is not going to work out. Go home, you failed your test. First sentence, you're done. Listen, it's not about explaining something in a simple or complicated way. No, I'm also for explaining things in a simple way, but it has to be accurate. Even if it's simple, it must be explained properly. And that's the hardest thing, by the way, for a scientist. It's easy for me here to give you all the formulas, but what's hard for me is to explain something in general words and nevertheless to be correct. So that's something that we have to pursue. So even if I stop this whole thing now, it would just continue on and on and on. I'd get more and more upset, but you don't want me to have a heart attack here on the stage, do you? You don't want that. So let's bring it to a conclusion here. Tomorrow I'll speak about our quality management, and then IOMS will be in that speech as well. It will be treated fairly and properly. And we'll talk on the level of international publications, and that's where they can reply to me based on the rules of scientific discussion and not some talk or some just hypotheses that are just claimed. So last word. I'm hearing from some competitors that they have the goal now of catching Beamer, maybe even passing Beamer one day. And you know, tomorrow I'll prove it to you, but I don't know how they want to do that without infringing on Beamer patents. But let's forget that for now. Dear colleagues working for our competitors, if there's anybody that's actually an expert working there, so I wish you all the best of success. We enter a fair competition with you, and we're gonna fight it fairly, but not here, not with these videos or whatever. No, this will happen at the big congresses in the major publications of the world. That's where the scientific fight is taking place. And I'll be the last person to not be critical of myself. And if I see other aspects that we have neglected, if they all of a sudden come to the foreground, I would actually be thrilled by that. So you want to pass the Beamer? Good luck. So you know what, my friends? Another thing has to be clear here. If this day really comes when you are there one day where we are today, then we will still not meet, because we'll already be all the way up there, back there. So, last word now. We are hardworking. We opened the door to the future in many regards, so maybe I have some time to hint at the future. A lot of things have changed and moved. So, friends, we have the courage. We will do it. So trust us. We are going to do it. We are not afraid of anybody. We're not afraid of any conflict. We are strong because we are hardworking. And so with that, hooray! And see you tomorrow.